Hey everyone, my name is Pierre. I'm one half of the Fantasy Football Endgame along with my partner Chris. I'm here to talk today about some trade targets for the opposition. That's right, some players that you need to sell right now while you can, while their value is still high enough. So let me tell you about my number one trade target. And when I say target, I mean guy that you should be trading away. And consider this a sell high because after week 3, well, all the truthers will come out. So that is Clyde, Edwards-Helaire. I'm not a hater. I'm just telling you facts are facts. Look at the numbers. You don't look at the name on the back of the jersey. Look at the fact that this is a player who just simply isn't fantasy relevant every week. We want him to be. And look, this is one of the most polarizing players out there. Some people will always point to any positive they can. Anytime there's a good game, they'll say, see, here it is. Here it's coming. The breakout's coming. It's not, okay? Look, he's at a full season. Running back is not a position where players take time to develop, right? Where they, year 2, maybe year 3, like a receiver or a tight end that they break out. Quarterbacks takes time to learn the playbook. No, a running back, it's supposed to be you get in there and you produce right away. We've seen so many rookies, maybe a few games, but not a second season. And he is in the perfect team context, at least we thought, but we were wrong. And by we, I mean everybody who thought that Edwards-Helaire was worthy of a first-round pick last year. He wasn't. He's not worthy of being an every week starter this year. So coming off of a 100-yard game in week 3, 17 carries, that looks pretty good. You can say, well, what's wrong with that? Why would I trade him now? Because this is when his value will probably be at his peak. So this is only the 4th time in his career, and I know it's not a long career, but still, it is the 4th time that he's gone over 80 yards rushing. Not 100 yards, 80 yards. Okay, so that's not a prolific runner. Oh, well, he's going to catch the ball. He doesn't catch the ball enough to be a fantasy stud. He averages 2.6 receptions per game. That's nothing to write home about. And the touchdowns that everybody thought were going to come in bunches because he's with the Chiefs, no. It goes to Travis Kelce. It goes to Tyreek Hill. So first 2 games were major duds, right? Not even 50 yards on the ground, didn't score. Even catch a pass in week 1, and now all of a sudden he has a big game in week 3. This is when you take advantage of that, and you sell while you can. All right, so let's go on to the next one, talk about a receiver, and it pains me to say this. We all thought that Allen Robinson was quarterback proof, and that might be, but I don't think he's Matt Nagy proof. So the situation in Chicago has gotten really bad, and it's not Justin Fields' fault. It's not even Andy Dalton's fault. He didn't play last week, and you know what? He didn't really do that badly when he was in. It's not about the quarterback. It's about the whole team offensive situation. They just need to admit that Nagy's not up to snuff as far as calling plays, especially, but also leading this team. The talent is there. I think that that's not the situation. It's not the issue, right? They have a solid running back. They have good receivers. They've got their future franchise quarterback. They just don't find a way to put it all together week to week. And I think that goes back to coaching. So until a change is made, I just don't see a lot of improvement. There's plenty of room for improvement, but what's going to make it happen? I mean, 35 yards, 24 yards, 27 yards, Allen Robinson, there's certainly something wrong when a stud receiver like him is only coming down with numbers like that. 2 catches each of the last 2 games. If no one can get him the ball, then he just isn't going to produce. So I know there's always going to be people who are saying, and I said this the first couple of weeks myself, said, you know what, he'll be fine. He doesn't matter. It was just the beginning. But it's 3 games now. We have to be worried. I think until we see major changes in Chicago, we have to try to take advantage of the window where people still think Allen Robinson could be a top 10 receiver. I don't see it happening this season. So speaking of admitting that somebody just isn't going to be what they were, Robert Woods, look, again, saying the same thing after 2 games. Cooper Kupp is just going off, winning you leagues, right? Winning you so far each week, and could be a league winner the way things are going. We'll see. Robert Woods is an afterthought, and we see guys like Van Jefferson getting these deep bombs, Deshaun Jackson going off in week 3. Everybody's getting involved except for Robert Woods. What is the deal? Well, somehow, even though the offense has been better, and Matt Stafford, of course, being an upgrade there, somehow Robert Woods has seen a 2-point dip in his target share and his air yard share. Okay, I don't think that there's necessarily a decline with the player. It's just for some reason, the way that the dynamic is working on this offense, maybe because there are more other weapons, well, that's not holding Cut back. I think it's just Stafford is looking to other guys. And, Woods is still involved. He's not a guy that is a cut or an absolute must sit, must sell. You have to get rid of him. But you have to look at the fact that there is a decline in his performance. Whatever the reason is, you don't have to point the finger. It doesn't matter whose fault, if it's Stafford's fault or Woods' fault or if it's McVay's fault. It doesn't matter. The facts are, right now, his weighted opportunity rating is down to 0.46. For those who don't know what that means, that's not terrible, but let's just say right now, that's lower than guys like Braxton Berrios and AJ Green. Okay, so that's as far as the target percent, the air yard percent, those numbers I talked about. Is he getting the opportunity to be productive? Not enough. Let's just say it's not enough. And so again, you look for the believer out there, the person who thinks, oh, I'm buying low on Woods. I'm getting a guy who's going to be a top 25 receiver at a discount. Maybe not so. So see if you can do a kind of an even swap there. Get another guy who maybe is a top 25 receiver, a guy like T. Higgins or something like that, coming off an injury, but will be fine rest of the season. Okay, so another receiver here. Let's talk about Will Fuller. So again, people thinking, oh, this is the time to get him, at a discount. He's just played one game. We know what he's capable of. Well, we know what he's capable of when he was in Houston, and we know what he's capable of with Deshaun Watson as a quarterback. This is not the same situation. There's no way we're going to see the same level of production from Will Fuller in Miami, and that's not necessarily a knock on the quarterbacks there. I mean, Deshaun Watson isn't the quarterback there, at least not yet. So it's not going to be the same, but still, this offense as a whole is just not going to be as productive in the passing game. That's not what they're about, right? The shots deep will only come very rarely, once in a while. Fuller isn't going to have the same level of opportunity, and he's actually competing with Jalen Waddle, who looks like he's the guy who's going to be maybe the main target there for whoever's at quarterback. Right now it's Brissett, and then eventually Tua again. And then Devontae Parker's a capable receiver. So it's not going to be just Will Fuller and nobody else like it was in Houston. He might boom once in a while. He'll hit those deep balls once in a while. It's not going to be enough to sustain being a weekly wide receiver 3. The people who are remembering the Will Fuller from last year before, the games at least that he actually did play when he wasn't injured or suspended, you know what? That perceived ceiling that he has that doesn't exist this season, you take advantage of that and you flip him for somebody who actually will produce on a weekly basis. Another receiver here, let's talk about a surprising one, and that's Chase Claypool. Now, I've never quite fully bought into the Claypool hype, and nothing against the player himself. Yes, he's an athletic freak, supreme talent. I like Claypool. I don't like Big Ben this year because I think he's done, right? I think we've seen that the arm is starting to look a little bit more and more like a wet noodle. He can't throw the ball deep like he used to. He was one of the lower rated deep ball passers last year, outside the top 20 in deep ball accuracy. It's just getting worse. And so Claypool, this is the time to take advantage because, again, coming off his best statistical game this season, 9 catches, 97 yards, that's because Deontay Johnson didn't even play because of injury, and Juju barely played in that game too. He left early with an injury, and yet that was all he could muster. Najee Harris actually had more receptions, more targets than Chase Claypool. And again, nothing against Claypool. I just think we're going to be left wanting more. Those big plays that he turned in last year, we're going to see them less frequently. This team is just not the same it was offensively, mainly because of the offensive line and, again, just the decline of Big Ben. It was inevitable, and now we're seeing it happen. So I think not through his own fault, but Claypool is going to kind of disappoint. So I'd rather trade him away and take advantage of what people think his ceiling is and get somebody who's going to be more consistent and more productive. All right, those are some of the players that I'm thinking that you should be trading away in fantasy football heading into week 4 and beyond. So let me know what you think. Hit us up with a comment right here on this channel. And if you want to follow along on Trade Talk, join the Discord. Again, the link is below. You can ask your trade questions there about players, scenarios, anything you want. You can ask away 24/7. All right, thanks for watching and good luck.